Aloha. You're watching F5 On Demand. I'm Technical Marketing Manager Peter Silva. We're here at the SharePoint Conference 2012 at Mandalay Bay in Vegas, booth 916. If you're at the show, come on by. And we're fortunate to have Jose Barros.
That's right.
He's the Director of Technology with the SCE Group. They're one of our partners, and he stopped by the booth to hang out with us for a little while this afternoon. Thanks for coming by.
No problem. Anytime.
So I just thought it'd be cool to catch up. And first, can you tell our audience a little bit about the SCE Group and what you guys are all about?
Absolutely. The SCE Group is a services company. We've been doing integration and multi-factor authentication between different SSL VPNs, including F5 APM at this point, and other ones with different authentication factors. In this case, we're going to be talking about RSA Adaptive Authentication a little bit.
And so that's what we were just chatting about while I fired up the camera, was you were telling me about an integration that you guys have done with our BIG-IP Access Policy Manager. Can you let us know a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. We leverage the policy manager to do a two-factor authentication where the first factor is really relevant. Most companies will use Active Directory or some sort of LDAP. And really where we come in is as a step up is RSA Adaptive Authentication. RSA Adaptive Authentication is a new model from RSA. It's risk-based authentication and pattern-based authentication. So what it does is it learns about you. It learns what you do when you come in, how you're coming in, what the device looks like, what geolocation. So it learns patterns from you, and over time has a pretty good idea of what you should be doing. So therefore, after it's learned about you, if you come in and you start doing things that are not behavioral, according to what you've done in the past, it's going to start challenging you with the most basic level would be a question along the lines of who's your best friend in high school, or if you start the risk score, which is how it does it, if the risk score starts going higher, then step-ups like out-of-band email, out-of-band phone, out-of-band SMS will start taking place. So that's at a high level what a user kind of experiences. There's a lot going on behind the scenes.
It's interesting, this whole behavioral piece, because, if you think way back in the early days of even IPS, IDS, those initial IDS systems were all those anomalies that were not normal. Now, the data back then was kind of mix and match to some extent, but it's sort of interesting that that's come back as a not valid, but an interesting way to do authentication.
Well, it is. I mean, the advantage here, and I think why it's coming is users are usually not complaining, but it's cumbersome to have to do, pull out a token, any type of token, and, remember your PIN and, look at it, find it, type that token. It's kind of all the time, every time I want to do something, when I'm traveling or, something that's secure, whatever. The good thing about behavioral analysis is that as long as you're within the behavior, as far as the user knows, it's username and password. And when really the administrator feels safe because that transaction or whatever's taking place is really, really secure, and the user is not, being burdened by having to do all the steps just to download a document. So It's just really simple for the user, and the administrators feel great about it.
And it's a great way to identify people because we all have our uniqueness about us.
Correct.
Of where we may go, how we type on the keyboard, those sorts of things. And so it really is pretty accurate in terms of identifying you are who you say you are.
It is. It has that thing. It's about 1%, 2% challenge rates when it really knows who you are. So basically that only 1 or 2% of the time will you be stepped up for whatever the reason is, why you didn't match the pattern at that time. So it's really non-invasive to the user. And the beauty here is with F5 APM, we've really been able to design some crazy flows that we're able to take, determine, for example, a really bad connection that's coming from eFraud. eFraud is part of the risk engine. It's a group of engineers that are constantly analyzing what's going on in the net. And if they find a pattern of hacking or virus or anything, they will report that to RSA Adaptive Authentication. Every 15 minutes it's being reported. So if you're coming from something that looks like a hacking pattern or anything bad, we can detect that. And with APM, what we can do is drop you into a honeypot, for example. So we're not denying the transaction. As far as the hacker knows or whomever knows, they're really being dropped into a honeypot, which gives us, more time to just look at what you're doing, try to see what's going on and how far you got and all that good stuff. So APM just gives that extra granularity to an already great product, but now we can do just so many things, and there's a lot that APM can catch that RSA doesn't necessarily catch. So when you combine the two, you just have like an extra layer of security that's just great.
And I can imagine this is something that financial institutions are just clamoring for, something that we want it, we want it.
Absolutely. I mean, financial institutions have been using it for the longest time. I mean, some of the biggest banks that people bank with every day use it today. That's their online banking system. It's not going through necessarily an SSL VPN or any form of gateway. It's actually a direct integration into their web apps. But there's a lot of demand on the enterprise for SSL VPNs, gateways, etc. Including today with all the federation as a first factor, just to step up to federation. So, but for a financial institution, as a product alone, is probably one of the best sellers and most widely used products.
Yeah, perfect use case.
Yes.
Well, really interesting stuff. I do appreciate you coming by and sharing a little bit about that with us. So how do people find you guys online?
You can go to www.thescegroup.com. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. So we're a little bit everywhere. Our website has all the information. You can find me. You can find Ben, Christy. So all the people will be there listed, and contact us.
Cool. So for Jose with the SCE Group, really appreciate your time. I got Dennis behind the lens helping out. I'm Peter, and I'm with F5 Networks. Do you want to give him a shaka before we go?
Good.
Thanks for watching.